Hello Wolfpack, we're going to be looking at a interesting chart that I've discovered here on Bitcoin and that I posted a thread about on Twitter earlier today. Just a quick little video here, and this is kind of supporting the more bearish argument for Bitcoin. As you guys would know, I'm bearish on Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's going to go downwards to 200-week SMA. I've been saying that. Well, originally I've been advocating for selling since 66k to 63k, and then I finalized my prediction around 58k that we're going downwards. My invalidation zone for that prediction is 48k, and so if we break 48k, we consolidate above that region, we flip it, I'd be happy to buy back. And I don't just mean break above it, I mean we consolidate above 48k and prove that it's broken and flipped. I'll be happy to buy back and admit that I was wrong for the partial ending of my prediction. Although it still is a win-win scenario for me, I buy back 15k lower regardless. Anyway, the point is of this video is that, well, I think that Bitcoin still has some downwards action to have, and I've looked into many reasons on TA as to why that is, and one of the reasons that I've actually forgot to look into today, and we had a live stream today and a video that I released. I forgot to look into this reason, and this is a very important reason. I think that it needs to be shared more because my Twitter thread that I released didn't get the attention that I think it deserved, and so this video is coming out today. So the 50-week and 200-week SMA are very important indicators. Now, this is the daily chart, and I want to show you just straight away, just setting the kind of guidelines of this video. We're in a very similar situation to what we were in 2018, according to the bearish argument, right? We had the peak, we dropped down massively, and now we have this kind of bounce formation, a bit of a dead cat bounce. And so if we apply that fractal from 2018 straight into this current fractal and try to adjust it to make it fit, we can see that this fits absolutely perfectly. It looks basically identical all the way. It's kind of hard to apply on a logarithmic scale. Let me try and get this a little bit better. Let's go to linear, and we can see that this thing is very, very, very accurate. Right, so something like that. I mean, you look at the similarities here, and it's impossible to deny them. I mean, not only have we had this double bottom here in September that followed through in 2018, we also had a double top, and we also had one little area of consolidation, another little area of consolidation, and another one here, and then the bottom here, right? So this is stunningly accurate. In fact, this is one of the more accurate fractals I've ever seen on Bitcoin, and I came by it in a stroke of luck. I didn't see this anywhere on Twitter or YouTube, whatever it is. This is a stroke of luck. I was looking through the charts the other day, and I found this fractal. And so now that we have the information that, well, Bitcoin's in a very similar position to what it was in 2018 in terms of a dead cat bounce from the bearish point of view, and the structure as well is very similar, what we can do is we can look into it a bit further and start drawing conclusions and drawing some, relative kind of, similarities between the two cycles, right? And so around the same time that Bitcoin was doing this, let's go to the weekly chart. This is the 50-week and the 200-week SMA, right? A red and green line. The red is the 50, the green is the 200. So now that we have these similarities outlined, not only in price action, but we're also looking now at the 50 and the 200, what we can see is that a few things have happened that are very similar so far, okay? We saw a drop below the 50-week, okay? We came back up, we retested it for resistance, we got rejected again, and we dropped down to the 200. What we're seeing right now, a drop below the 50-week. We're coming up. We're probably going to retest the 50-week from the downside, and we're going to drop down to the 200. Very similar to 2018. Okay, and now if we're looking at that, and that could be very speculative, and you could say, well, there's not really much evidence to support that. Well, I would argue that there's an abundance of evidence. I'm just not going to show you on this chart because it's going to take too long. Right, Gaussian channel, Ikomoku cloud. We've also got the price action looking similar. We've also got the fact of drop below the bull market support band. We've had a massive correction, 52% down from all-time highs, and we're pretty clearly coming up for a retest to 48k, which is where the 50-week stands. So that's a brief summary of the evidence. And then on top of that, we've got the macro events. Interest rates are probably going to be rising, which leads to correction in traditional markets and potentially recession, which is going to lead to Bitcoin going down as well. So look, I would say there's abundance of evidence going towards this happening. However, we're not going to be looking into that too much in this video. What we are going to be looking at is the kind of the price and date range of this drop and getting an understanding of how this could happen, right? So in 2018, once we dropped below the 50-week, we went down around 25% until the short-term bottom. Okay, 25% to the short-term bottom. It took about 4 weeks. Okay, we found the short-term bottom, and then we pumped up about, let's see, 45%, and that took 5 weeks. Okay, and then we had the rejection, and we head back down, and we ended up at the 200. Okay, now looking at what's happened right now, let's see if we can find some more similarities, because there's already a bunch. Okay, so we dropped below the 50-week. We've had, just like in 2018, exactly the same as 2018. Okay, we've had 4 weeks until the bottom. It has been 32%, so it's been slightly more volatile, but the time period is the same. In fact, if you go to the daily chart, the exact same number of days, 4 weeks on both currencies till the bottom. And now we are coming up, right? And if we reach the 50-week, that is going to be a 45% gain. Okay, we haven't reached that yet, but going by 2018, we can see that we'll reach that in 5 weeks, and so that is 2 weeks from the current date. All right, so looking at the similarities even further, we can see that, well, first and foremost, from the period we dropped down from the 50-week to the short-term bottom before a further drop, we saw a 25% drop, okay, and it took 4 weeks. On this occurrence, we saw 32%, roughly in the same region, and 4 weeks at the same time. Okay, and then now on the pump up, we've seen a 45% upswing before a rejection, right? And that took 5 weeks. And if we were to get an upswing right up to the 50-week right now, which looks potentially likely, that would be a 45% upswing, and it will probably take around 5 weeks as well. So the similarities, not only in terms of price action, but also in terms of what is happening in regards to the 50-week and the 200-week, are completely undeniable. And that was the topic of this video. And basically what I'm saying here is that, well, even if we go up to 48K, there's a strong possibility we will reject off that 50-week and follow the fractal here from 2018. And ultimately, the trend downwards towards the 200, which is this green line, will continue. And I think we'll be reaching that anytime between April and November. The 4-year cycle theory would favor November. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I hope you learnt something. That's the most important thing. And I'll catch you in the next one.